Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He's Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the code,
and
check-in.
We are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We give the people what they want. You like how in the intro I add that Detroit flavor with my name and then add that Beastie Boys flavor with your name?
A little bit.
The show's kind of
I
fly.
do like it. I appreciate you, Jalen Rose. Do you know what the people want to know?
What do they want?
Is the New York Knicks season over?
It's not over because they still have games to play.
It feels over.
Now, if you expect them to advance in the playoffs, yes. If you think that they're going to create the kind of excitement that you can build on for next year, no.
There's no excitement. Derrick Rose is not showing up for games. They're losing to the Sixers at the buzzer. The own team's Twitter account is trolling Derrick Rose and then deleting it. It just seems like it's a dumpster fire that's just getting hotter and hotter and bigger.
It's not what in the NBA because you play so many games, it's who. And the perception is never good when you're struggling the way they have mightily and you lose at the buzzer to Philly.
TJ McConnell.
When they don't call timeout and ultimately he makes the shot over Carmelo Anthony.
It was a nice move, though, to be fair. Like, that's a tough shot. It was a tough shot.
It just shows you how their fortunes are clearly going in reverse. Mm-hmm. And we all know Porzingis has shown the potential to be a terrific young player.
Sure.
I think he's going to be a multi-time All-Star. But what I caution is when you watch the best teams in the league, those teams have a couple of players playing at an All-Star level. What's going to be interesting this year is if he's not voted in by the fans, whether Carmelo Anthony actually makes this year's All-Star team.
I think he might be voted in by the fans, though, which will save him. But you did something. You know, one thing I love doing this show with you is you offer insight that only people that played the game can offer. And a couple years ago, when the Knicks, it was right around this time of the year, the Knicks weren't looking great, and you said, watch this. After the All-Star break, Carmelo Anthony's going to shut down his season.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
He's already talking about this shoulder injury, this bad shoulder injury that he's been playing through. Sounds like an excuse to me, but he's talking about that. Will he shut it down again after the All-Star game?
Not directly after the All-Star game, but will there be 10 to 15 games toward the end of the year where he's not participating? If they stay 5 games under 500 or worse, yes, that's going to take place. No different than what you're seeing in Dallas with Dirk. These are players that are future Hall of Famers. One in Dirk has earned the equity through winning a championship and enduring the peaks and valleys in Dallas, where it's going to be looked at a lot different because he's way past his prime, versus a Carmelo Anthony where you get a chance to see Dwayne Wade got 3 chips. So yes, he left Miami.
What about LeBron?
To go
How's
to
he doing?
Chicago to get his run on. Okay, you homies with LeBron. LeBron's still the best player in the game and his team a contending team. So being compared to his contemporaries, it really makes it a worse look. And lastly, he's in control of his situation, not the New York Knicks. He has a no-trade clause.
So when they're on the banana boat, do Dwayne Wade and LeBron make jokes?
Control.
Do they make jokes?
Control.
Do they make jokes about Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony? They have to.
Not so much Chris Paul, because he at least competes on a contending playoff caliber team each year. But for Melo, just think about this. And I love to say this because I like to give some foresight. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James are going in the same Hall of Fame that Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard will enter.
I've heard that before.
Hate it or love it. You would have thought with LeBron, Wade, and Melo all playing in the East their entire careers that we would have actually saw them be rivals at one point. That never took place. LeBron either dominated the competition or dismantled it by joining Wade and Bosh. So with that being said, Melo was never able to lift the Knicks. Rose was never able to lift the Bulls, winning MVP. Paul George wasn't consistently able to lift the Pacers, and he had a horrific injury that came at an unfortunate time when Indiana was making back-to-back conference finals. They never had rivals. Dwight Howard just got back to the Eastern Conference.
It's almost like the New York Knicks need a strong, veteran, executive leadership person that's been around the league and won championships and just is a respected voice in the industry. It's almost like they need someone like that during times like this to speak up. Has anyone heard from Phil Jackson?
No.
Interesting. The Celtics faced off against the Wizards, and after the game, there was a little skirmish. Jay Crowder was pointing his finger at
It's
John
that time
Wall,
of year, it's flu season.
and he made contact with Jay Crowder's
Hold
nose,
me back.
which led to a hold me back moment. Does finger-to-nose contact justify a slap jab to the face from John Wall?
Absolutely. Like EPMD said, you smack me and I'll smack you back. Once you touch me, it's almost muscle memory. You got to get a reflex. And Wall handled it like a vet. The one thing I liked about this, I don't mind opponents that actually don't get along.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. When I'm watching a sporting event, when I'm watching competition, I want the two combatants to actually care as much as I do and take it as personal as I would when they lose or don't achieve their goals. And here's another thing that took place. Look at the Eastern Conference All-Star picture.
Okay.
Guards. Kyrie, Lowry, DeRozan, and Butler, in my opinion, will be locks.
Okay. John Wall's left out.
So therefore, another couple of spots that have to be jockeyed for in the guard spot will be by Isaiah Thomas, John Wall, and Kemba Walker.
Mm-hmm.
When those individuals play against one another, you got to bring it. And while I've talked about how well John Wall had been recently playing, he picked an inopportune time to have one of his worst games of the season when Isaiah Thomas had a terrific fourth quarter.
20 points in the fourth.
And the Celtics put the smackdown on their home floor. So there was some frustration clearly there. And Crowder is an agitator. I'm pretty sure he didn't hesitate to let him know about it.
Right in the front row was Floyd Money Mayweather. After the game, Isaiah Thomas came over just to give him a pound. Floyd Money Mayweather started untucking his shirt and asked for his jersey. We've both seen this clip. It looked to me like Thomas did not want to give up his jersey, but felt obligated.
Floyd is the undefeated champion.
Facts.
On the Forbes list, ranked number one amongst athletes.
I'm still not giving him my shirt. I'm still not giving him my shirt.
He and Isaiah Thomas are like family. This is where I bring you behind the curtain.
Okay, take us behind the curtain.
Floyd is the big brother, and Floyd has bought him a six-figure sports car. Lil' bro, you went off in the fourth quarter. I need that jersey.
It just felt kind of disrespectful. Like in the way he was untucking, he was like, take off your shirt,
It
little
was
brother.
like,
Give me
Puffy,
that.
Take that. Take that. And the best thing about it, Floyd is about his fashion. He immediately got the jersey and gave it to somebody else to hold. I ain't walking through here with this sweaty jersey on.
No.
You hold this for me.
I can't wait. After you have a great show on Countdown, I'm going to walk over to you. I'm going to untuck your button up. I'm going to say, Jalen, we're family, right? Give me that shirt, and we'll see how that goes. Jalen Rose, we have an important update.
What's that?
Tim Tebow was not invited to the Mets spring training. Are you as heartbroken about this as I am?
I wanted to see him get the opportunity just because it's something that I know he's passionate about when his ultimate goal as a Heisman Trophy winning college championship quarterback that had limited success in the NFL if he could pick and choose what he'd be doing for a living, it would clearly be under center this Sunday playing in the playoffs.
That's not happening.
And so since that won't happen and has no chance of ever happening, I did appreciate the fact that he found something else that he was passionate about. But the production versus the fame, it doesn't continue to add up.
He got a couple hits.
And from that, the Mets clearly feel like we got to move on.
Klay Thompson was asked about the Halloween cookies that depicted his gravestone and the 3-1 lead that they had in the finals during the Cavaliers' Halloween party. Here's what he had to say, quote, "It's obviously not respectful, so it's got to be on the other side of the spectrum, so that's fine with us. They can do that childish stuff. It doesn't matter to us. All we've got to do is handle it on the court." You know?
This is one of those probably at the bottom of the ticker will be a conversation topics that really I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. What is he supposed to say? They don't face each other but twice all season, and they're on a collision course to meet in the NBA Finals.
Okay, so to me, I could dig into this stuff. I could talk about it forever. He said it was childish, which I think is kind of childish. The best thing to do is just say nothing, keep it moving, and say, I didn't notice it, I didn't even know it happened, it's no big deal. But if it's like, oh, they can do that childish stuff, you're like, oh, so you're going to take a shot at me? I'm going to take a shot about you taking a shot.
You mind him taking a shot and calling them childish, but you wouldn't mind him pretending not to know that it took place?
No, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Okay. Now you see why I don't have anything for that topic.
Chance the Rapper.
We use him on Countdown with our Open. He's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing, and he's got a big profile in GQ. And part of that profile, he said that he took the entire Warriors team to the Sky Zone trampoline park. What? I have a lot of questions about this. Have you ever been to a trampoline park?
You know where I'm from, right?
Detroit.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing in the concrete jungle. Two things that don't sit well with me. I know about jumping over fences in the back of houses.
Dairy. Dairy doesn't sit well with you.
Dairy.
Beef. Doesn't sit well with you.
Cheese.
Yeah, cheese. Those things don't sit well
vodka,
with you. Yep.
Tequila. But a couple of these buzzwords don't usually go hand in hand. One, sky and zone. Okay. I don't mind being in the zone, but I don't want to be in the sky.
Okay.
Trampoline, I'm tall already. I ain't trying to do a lot of jumping.
Yeah, I've watched you during your career. You don't do a lot of jumping.
I want to control my gravity. Okay? So I am not, for my own safety, going to strap myself in to be jumping constantly on a trampoline. Just not gonna be able to do it.
Do you know what a trampoline is?
I do.
What's a trampoline?
My kids have one behind their house.
You don't strap yourself into a trampoline.
I know, but I'm thinking about Sky Zone.
Okay. We have an important update. Friend of the show, Irving Johnson.
The Hall of Fame mogul.
The Hall of Fame mogul.
That's one of my favorite nicknames.
So let me tell you about what the Hall of Fame mogul did.
I need a nickname Hall of Fame.
Not only, we love power couples on this show. The Hall of Fame mogul is part of a power couple.
No doubt.
It's a very lovely wife named Cookie.
Yes, indeed.
And one time he wanted to take care of his wife, and he said, you know what I'm going to do?
Since college.
I'm going to get her some jewelry. I'm going to go to a jeweler, and just for one night, I want her to be laced. So I'm going to put a deposit down, a $250,000 deposit down on these jewels, so I can rent them essentially for the night. $250,000.
To rent jewels for the night?
$800. No, it's a deposit. That's if I don't bring them back, then you got that, right? What happened is the jeweler kept the Hall of Fame mogul's deposit. He has now sued Gina Amir Atelier for his money. How are you going to keep the Hall of Fame mogul's money and expect to get away with it?
This is one of those things that when you're a billionaire, you continue to try to find ways to please your significant other. Let me tell you what the rest of us would have done if we wanted to take $250,000 to impress our mate. Take it out of the bank. Put it on the bed. Put it on the floor. Okay. Make it leaves in the house. Let's just walk and do snow angels on it for a weekend. How about that? No pictures.
I love how you said
no
the
post,
rest of us.
No Snapchat. Let's just enjoy it. Walk through the house with bacon and eggs, just throwing money in the air.
Throwing money around.
No doubt about it.
What's for breakfast? Cash.
No question.
The Chargers announced their move to Los Angeles. They unveiled the logo. Everyone is so mad at the logo, right? I'm not mad at the logo. Here's what I think the big problem is here. How did you not change the name of the mascot? You had an opportunity to no longer be the Chargers, which no one ever really understands. And your previous logo was a lightning bolt, which was the worst logo in the league. Oh, I'm sorry, the Lions have the worst logo in the league. The second worst logo in the league. And why is everyone so mad? Why don't they change the name? I don't care about the logo. Who cares if it looks like the Dodgers logo? Why did they not change the name from the Chargers to something that is significant?
Hit the brakes. Born and raised in Detroit, 1973. The year I got drafted, 1994. Got into an altercation, State Theater, injured my shoulder. September of 94. August of 94, a couple of months after I got drafted, was staying at the La Montrose until training camp started. Ever since then, Los Angeles has been my second home. I got news for the Chargers. The fans don't want them here. There's no space. Their team stinks. The Rams are below average. How about when the Raiders come to town and the stadium is going to be filled with fans representing the silver and black? Not either one of these teams that actually play here. It just makes no sense. They're going to be the JV team to the Rams, and both teams are struggling, like the Clippers are the JV team to the Lakers. It truly makes no sense.
Which makes less sense, them moving to L.A. or them being called the Chargers?
Moving to L.A.
I know you saw the Knicks lose to the Sixers. But after the game, Joel Embiid did something. And Joel Embiid is always doing the right thing. Do you know what he did to celebrate? He joined the Sixers dancers in a dance. You can see the video online. But here's my question. Why didn't he even attempt to join the dancers in the choreographed dance? He did his own thing next to them. I would have preferred if he tried to dance along with them.
I appreciate his youthful enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. And it shows you the joy that a young person can have playing the game that they love, especially when it's been taken away from them. Remember, here is a high pick that's dealt with injury the last couple of years with a franchise that clearly is not a contender. And I'm telling you guys right now, the enthusiasm that I have for some young forward combinations in the league, we know about LeBron and Love and KD and Durant and Kawhi and LaMarcus Aldridge. But I'll tell you what, when I'm sitting in Milwaukee with Greek Freak and Jabari, it's the same enthusiasm, if not more, that I'm going to have when Ben Simmons is in uniform playing basketball in Philadelphia with said Joel Embiid.
You say something that's really intelligent that I plagiarize from you at least once a day. And that is happiness is a function of expectations. And watching that game, you can see, the Sixers are just excited to win a game against the New York Knicks. And you look at the Knicks thinking they're going to be in the playoffs, not so happy.
And also for Embiid, something else came out of that game. And I'm pretty sure there's some funny memes to represent this. It shows how far we've come in our country. Because the way that 7-foot brother had his hands around McConnell's neck, you weren't allowed to do that like 50 years ago, big fella.
Things have changed.
You come along at the right time.
Hunter Renfrow had a huge national championship game for the Clemson Tigers, made a name for himself, and he celebrated that performance with his girlfriend by purchasing or acquiring a brand new adorable puppy. Here's my question. Are they too young to bring a puppy into the relationship?
They are not. And let me say something that you would appreciate.
That puppy's going to have a single parent in about 2 years.
No. This is something you would appreciate. You said that it was his girlfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that stage of a relationship, 99.9% of what she wants, you guys do. Once you get married, it becomes you do 80% of what she wants to do.
Here's my thing for Hunter. I would say a puppy is less of a commitment than an engagement ring. You're bringing another soul into this. Puppies last for 15 years. Are you looking to her, your college girlfriend, and saying, I guarantee you're going to be here 15 years?
I'm going to support their purchase.
I am not.
And their longevity in their relationship. I'm rooting for them.
Okay. Speaking about early budding relationships, we have Drake and J-Lo. Reportedly, Drake bought J-Lo a $100,000 necklace. And you were speaking earlier about how things change over time over the course of a relationship. Doesn't this seem like a classic early in the relationship move? Like, oh, this is the way it's going to be if you get with me. We just the $100,000 necklaces flying at you every week.
It's relative because he's dealing with somebody that can clearly buy what she wants for herself anytime she gets ready.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So whether it costs $1,000 or $1 million isn't the task that he hopes to get accomplished. It clearly was something that as they spent time together, he either felt like it was a want or a need that he feel like that he can make happen. That's what a gift is all about. Not something that you want the individual to have, but something that you feel like they would appreciate if you got it for them. That's what makes it thoughtful. I love them together. I hope that works.
My only advice for them is don't get a puppy together. You know, the puppies deserve better than that.
And I got advice for Nicki Minaj. First off, I know he lost to Drake, but Meek Mill has bars.
He's got bars.
1.
He's got a sense of humor.
2, he's missing you. Falling down the steps.
Yeah, snow falling on him.
You know, he's used to you
running
next
away.
to him.
Yeah, he needs your support.
Watching out for him.
He needs your support.
Babe, watch out for the stairs.
Yeah.
They may be
this
a little
slippery. Slow down, man.
Come on, Nikki. Shoot
What's
a
the
text.
rush?
Shoot an email.
What's the rush? One last question. A little bit of a don't get fired topic. Do you have a problem with Joseph Fiennes portraying the late, great Michael Jackson on screen in the UK?
I have a unique opinion about this because I can get on the phone and shoot a text to my godfather, who 100% is in the know about who, what, when, and where, all things Michael Jackson and their family estate. With that being said, I don't have any issues with it.
You know what I can do? I can get on the phone and I can shoot a text to the Podfather and get his take on it. So now it's time for me to take everybody behind the curtain, Jalen. Here's what's happening behind the curtain. Today's Thursday. We don't have a radio show, so we will not be on the radio between 4 and 6. However, we do have a television show. So we could have just taped the 3 segments for television and then just put that up as a podcast. But we know where we came from. If you are listening to this right now, that means you are listening to the podcast. And every single time this happens, we will make sure that we set aside some time to make podcast-exclusive segments just for you.
You're going to ruin our reputation.
Why's that?
Because we're working on our day off.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take days off. We didn't have radio, which could have led to a day off. And we always talk about slacking, not preparing, and not working. But yet we're doing extra credit.
I didn't prepare this segment. The staff did. Since on this show we strive to
Got to give the people time. Give the people what they want.
we're going to make this an interactive segment where we take your questions, your feedback via our Twitter feed, which is at Jalen and Jacoby, and our voicemail, 985-80-JALEN. Call that number, leave us a text or a voicemail, or text us a video, and we'll watch that too. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
Yo, you guys got to give the people what they want. Who's the most exciting player in college basketball?
Malik Monk. Malik Monk. This is one of those
Best
seasons.
team, Villanova. Love what Jay Wright has done with that squad. The defending champion. Big shout to Jalen Brunson, Chris Jenkins, Hart. Love their team. The best player is Malik Monk.
Malik Monk. However, I just want to put this on wax again.
And we putting it on wax.
Jalen has identified one of his little picks. It was Avery Bradley a couple years ago, Gordon Hayward last year. And this year, you've picked a guy. We were watching a Michigan State game, and you said what?
Keep your eyes fixated on that gentleman right there. When the NBA draft rolls around, he's going to be going in the top 5.
Talking about Mr. Miles Bridges. Remember where you heard the love from Miles Bridges first, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
Remember we were talking about Greek Freak on this program? It's almost like when you plant a seed and it becomes a harvest, you hate to see it go. It was like that with Boogie. It was like, that's why you got to unblock Bill.
You got to unblock Bill.
You got to unblock Bill, Boogie.
You know, Boogie, like, we show you a lot of love on this program. You know? A lot of love on this program, except when you wore those boots. Every other time we showed you a lot of love on this program. You got to unblock Bill. What did Bill ever do to you? Big shout to the Podfather. Now we're going to our Twitter feed. It's at Jalen Jacoby. First question is from Abdiram. His question is, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Do NBA stars wear a new pair of shoes every game? Even role players? What happens to them after the game is over?
You're not wearing a new pair of shoes every game because there is a level of wearing a fresh pair of kicks and then feeling like you want to rock them again when they're broken in.
If I score 40 points, I'm wearing those shoes again.
Correct. And you become a creature of habit. So, in theory, you want to break in a pair of shoes in practice. For me, I would try to rock them the final practice or a final shoot around and then rock them in the game.
Do you hand them to a trainer or do you put them in your own bag and carry them yourself?
Well, it has changed over the years. I came into the league at a time where you still had to keep up with your own bag.
You carried it, kept it up, or packed it?
Would have to keep up with it for you. The way teams travel now, they don't necessarily require the rookies to be in Denver or somewhere in the Midwest or on the East Coast helping the staff put bags on the plane in the middle of winter at 2 in the morning. The one thing that has changed, and I say this because it's a fact, before you could discipline players with brass knuckles, in theory, proverbially. Now you need furry gloves. And while that has transpired and led to a lot of great things, it also led to me to some of the things we've seen in the game that some of the older players may or may not be fans of.
Next question we have is from T. Chang. No relation to T-Pain. What are your thoughts on team mascots? Any favorites? I have a lot of thoughts on team mascots. If you listen to this program, you don't have a lot of thoughts on team mascots. Right now, I'm fired up about the Chargers team mascot. It needs to change. That is one of my least favorites. Utah Jazz. I've been to Utah. Spent a lot of time in Utah. Had some great times in Utah. Not a very jazzy town.
That was branding. They moved from New Orleans.
So? Exactly. When you move from New Orleans, switch the brand. When you move from Los Angeles, when you move from San Diego, switch the brand. I love mascots. I think about them a lot. I think there's some underutilized mascots. I think the elephant is a very powerful animal. The rhinoceros is an extremely powerful animal, not used anywhere in professional sports.
I just want to drop a couple of nuggets because they came to my mind real quick, and I'll derail the topic in a minute. I would like eventually to see the Clippers in Seattle. What? Their current owner has ties to that area. I know he purchased a team in Los Angeles, and they have grand moves to get a stadium in a different location and have that team flourish here. But I think for the balance and for those fans who I think deserve a team, that would be an awesome move for the league.
I like that too. They don't have their own arena. They have to put up, pictures of J.J. Redick over Lakers championship banners. Like, it would be a good thing for the league as a whole. And I think that Los Angeles sports fans, I'm about to make a lot of enemies right now, Los Angeles sports fans wouldn't miss the Clippers the same way Seattle is missing the Sonics. Like, if you're a Los Angeles sports fan, which there are thousands and thousands and thousands of, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, do we really need 2 teams for every single major sport? Like, do we need that? Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby. What up, though? This is Ben Rock. If Steph Curry leaves as a free agent, where can you see him going?
What up, though, Vin Rock? Thank you for the call. Steph Curry is not, cannot, will not be leaving the Golden State Warriors in any way, shape, or form.
It's just not going to happen.
If that was going to happen,
it's not going to happen.
It would be to Charlotte, where his dad does a terrific job of calling games. He grew up there for the most part in his family dynamic.
It's not going to happen.
We know the Panthers are his favorite football team, but he's not leaving the Golden State Warriors.
Thank you so much for the call, Vin Rock. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, yo, Jalen Jacoby. This is Cali B from the east side of the LB. I just had a quick question. Will Tom Brady be just as good if you put him on the Cleveland Browns? Can he put the Browns in the playoff by himself? If you can answer that, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Big shout to Cali B from the East Side LB. This is one of those conversations where people have to appreciate the dynamics of the word team.
Exactly. Especially in the sport of football.
If you were talking about Floyd or Serena or Tiger in his prime.
Exactly.
Yes, their games travel.
Yes. Usain Bolt.
But in football, and I purposely left off basketball, where in hoops, your best couple of players should put you in a position to win games.
Yeah. In all different sports, one individual has a different impact on the game. But I would say in football, one individual has the least amount of impact on the game than other sports. Of course, the quarterback position is a little bit different.
Say it. Here's a different way to think about it. Insert said elite quarterback and put them with the Patriots behind center. I would think and hope that they would still have success. Would they be arguably the greatest of all time like Tom Brady has become? I don't think so, because I can't diminish what he's got accomplished. But I do think that if you put those guys in Cleveland, they would struggle as well.
Also, Tom Brady, that roster has been built for Tom Brady. They don't have a lot of deep threats. If you notice, I'd say Gronk is probably the closest thing they have to a deep threat, because he gets a different matchup. Like, if you put a Flacco or like a Roethlisberger, these kind of deep ball guys on that team, they might even struggle themselves. Football is like sort of a quintessential team sport where everybody impacts the game, from coaching, from coordinators, all the way down to special teams players. Thank you so much for the call, Cali B, from the LB. Next is from Jeff. You think the Costco lady that checks your receipt is necessary? This is a great question. This is an excellent question. She never even looks at the items in the cart. Now, Jeff, I'm going to take this one, Jalen.
On it. I got something to say, too.
I went to undergrad business school, and one of my favorite classes was called Operations Management. It was where you just kind of figured out how the logistics and the operations of a business can work and what's the most efficient way of getting things done in the process. At some point, someone said in the Costco executive offices, which I have not been invited to yet, which is still disrespectful to me, they have said, you know what we need? We need someone to check the receipts before they leave to make sure that people aren't leaving with some of our goods. And that seems like a good idea on paper, but when it gets down to the operational level and you see the people actually doing it, do you know what I do? I have my son hand the receipt. And do you know what they do? They look at my son and they say, oh, you're so cute. What's your name? How old are you? And then we all keep it moving. They don't even look at the stuff in the cart. This is completely unnecessary, and it's just one of those things that is just been grandfathered in as a process that someone needs to look at and review and change. Thank you very much for the question, Jeff.
Not unnecessary. It is something that clearly needs to be done because people will steal. It's just on the operations level, to your point, they're not executing the way they should.
They're not at all.
I've been caught stealing from the store before.
Oh, so have I. Bubble tape.
And one time comes to mind, Ann Arbor, Michigan, left practice, left training table, got word that Ice Cube Death Certificate CD was out. Didn't have any cash.
Oh, did you have to take it out of that big plastic thing?
So I go into the record store. I unpackage it.
If you're over 30, you know about the big plastic thing.
I broke the package off and took the plastic off. I kindly put it in my pocket. But this is the beginning of sensors.
Oh, they've got that little tiny white sticker thing. Easy to remove, Jalen. Easy to remove.
I know, but I was a serial klepto at some point in my life.
Okay.
And as technology changed, it caught up with me. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the days. Fortunately for me, it didn't become a big deal. I did have to leave the CD. I did go to training table. I did borrow the money from, I think, Jawan. You've never seen Jawan without a haircut, a crease in his pants, or some money in his pocket. For whatever it works. I go back, I buy the CD. We all go back to me and C. Webb's dorm room. We listen to the album the entire time because Q was my favorite rapper, amongst others at that time. Everybody was clowning me because they felt like he didn't diss NWA on the album. For those that remember, No Vaseline is the last song on that CD. So the entire time it's like, oh, your boy
he didn't fire
weak.
back. He didn't even fire back.
Shots. And then No Vaseline came. And the rest is history. I love NWA
story,
and Ice
Jalen.
Cube.
I have a story to tell myself. It's from yesterday. Jalen Rose ordered some tea And the lovely young lady behind the bar went to go get the tea for Jalen Rose. While she was away, Jalen takes his long 7-foot arm, go gadgets it out there into the fruit dishes to garnish drinks. He takes himself 3 or 4 blackberries, just eats them up. Lady comes back, says, "Did you just steal blackberries?" So when you say once upon a time you were a klepto, by once upon a time, do you mean yesterday? You got caught stealing yesterday.
I'm ashamed that this happened. I got a black card in my pocket.
You got some blackberries in your mouth.
That's very nice, sir.
Let's listen to the next voicemail.
What up, though? This is Delano Corleone from Twitter, Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, I'm trying to figure out, how do a brother get into being a GM or executive? Is there a fellowship program or something I can sign up for? You know, Jim Irsay, Memphis Grizzlies, Mark Cuban. Can you give a brother a job?
I have an answer to this one, Jalen. It's not necessarily about how to become a GM. It's about how to become anything that you want to become. You have to start at the very bottom. There is no fast track to GM. You can't just send your resume in for the GM position of the Pelicans and they hire you for that. No. You send your resume in to volunteer to intern for the assistant video coordinator role. And then what do you do there? You work as hard as you possibly can. When I first started at ESPN, they had me answering phone calls and taking messages. And I thought I was so smart. I thought I was so talented. I went to one of my colleagues and I said, "Can you believe they have me answering phone calls and answering phone calls?" You know what he said? He said, "You make sure that you take the best messages. You make sure your handwriting is right. You make sure you put the time on there, what it's regarding, number to call back. You do that right, and they'll give you the next job." Yeah. So that's my answer, not just to Delano Corleone from Tennessee about how to become a GM. That's my advice for all young people about how to become whatever you want. Target where you want to be and start at the very, very bottom of that ladder. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Power to the people. Give Jalen what he wants. Jalen, my wife is over the age of 40, has never seen a Star Wars, an Aliens, or an Indiana Jones movie. She is a unicorn just like you.
Thank you for the call. And I don't necessarily think you have to be over 40 to fall in this category. I just think that you have to be black.
Just say it. Just say it.
That's what it sounds like to me. Because I got news for you. I haven't seen any of those movies either.
I would. You know what I want? I would challenge a Caucasian caller, someone of the Caucasian persuasion, to call in and say they've never seen a Star Wars movie.
And you got to be able to make fun of yourself. And some stereotypes are based on truth. I fall for this one.
Yep. Some stereotypes will get you into a lot of trouble if you bring them up at a chalk talk and you're the general manager of the
Let's
Atlanta
just right
Hawks.
now go through all of the stereotypes we can of different races, religions, and creeds.
The next tweet that we have right now is from Jason Gilbert. He says, "You guys think Michael Jordan pants will ever come back in style? Bell bottoms did briefly. Fashion is cyclical, right?"
No, it isn't.
No.
While different trends and styles reinvent themselves constantly, certain things go out and never come back.
That's a good point.
Bootleg cuts, not coming back. Hoop earrings, not coming back. There's certain things that just go out of style and stay out.
That's a good point. I'm going to say wide leg jeans for my mid-90s people, not coming back. However, we'll all be wearing baggy jeans soon. It's coming. We're all going to be wearing those XXL soon. I promise you. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
And Jalen, by the way, not Jalen, Jacoby. You're an honorary black guy for sure. I could have sworn you was black for the longest time before I got the visual confirmation. So, welcome to the honorary club, bro.
I appreciate it. He is correct. I was once upon a time an honorary black man. I have since had those privileges revoked. What? I drink green juice twice a day. Okay? Like, I've got a minivan. I go to sleep every day at 10 o'clock.
Get off the bandwagon.
My card has been revoked. I moved from Brooklyn to Silver Lake, Los Angeles.
Get off the bandwagon.
My case was reviewed by the board. And the results were, I'm no longer an honorary black man.
If we were doing a Dave Chappelle draft, we'd take you.
In like the 6th round, though.
Nah. We'll take you high.
And then you trade me over.
You got
to
a lot
Asians.
of value. You got a lot of value. Okay. But here's the thing I want to also teach you. Okay? Really important. There are black people walking the fine face of this earth that also.
Oh, I mean, of course.
Like green drinks.
Of course.
Drive minivans.
Of course.
Go to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
But you know there's not.
And live in the suburbs.
There are no white people that haven't seen Star Wars. I'm convinced. There are none. There are none. Like, when you make a generalization, like, of course there are exceptions to every single generalization. We were talking about stereotypes a second ago. Of course there are exceptions. However, there is no white person over 30 that has not seen a single Star Wars movie.
There isn't a black person that hasn't seen Scarface.
Scarface, very rewatchable. Holds up over time. Holds up over time. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, it's RJ from Mount Juliet, and listening to y'all's podcast every day after school. And I was just wondering, I saw that Jacoby tweeted or retweeted that R. Kelly dropped in 35 more chapters of Trapped in the Closet. So how do we as a society take this and feel about this, considering he's one of the greatest artists of all time?
Big shout, RJ. Appreciate the call. Thank you for listening after school.
I have a conflicted relationship with R. Kelly, especially with this project. I love this particular project, Trapped in a Closet. What? I love this project. I may or may not have watched every single one about 3 times.
What?
However, much like some of your favorite athletes, he makes it difficult for you to root for him with some of his transgressions in the past. It just makes it real hard to root for R. Kelly. So it's a good question, RJ, because it is. I don't know how to handle it as a society. You know, I really don't. I don't have the answer to that one. I'm sorry, RJ. Thanks for listening every day. We have one final voicemail for today's show.
Jalen, how tiring is it to be an NBA player?
It's a great question. It's a great question.
There's a level of physical, mental, and emotional latitude that you have to have every day that just doesn't come overnight. What a lot of people underestimate about athletes is you're conditioned. Usually when you're watching somebody that is fortunate enough to make it to the pros, they've been practicing directly or indirectly this craft for 20 years, at least before they ever get a check for doing it. So for me, playing basketball, I remember the days where I'm walking down the street going to the store because that was one of my hustle for the adults in the neighborhood. I'm dribbling the ball. I remember being so small where I couldn't take the ball straight between my legs, where I just lift up my leg to be able to walk the dog with the ball between my legs. Or playing in the house on a hanger, taking hangers out of the closet, putting them at the top of the door, taping them together. And shooting, turning my mom's aluminum foil, putting a sock around it, and before you know it, that became the ball. Or playing outside, nailing a milk crate to a telephone pole, cutting a hole in the bottom. Those last two situations, you see why I did a lot of runners and floaters, even though I was tall. I remember that used to be a bad shot. People used to get so mad at me. I was playing in the house in front of a door, and I was playing outside on a telephone pole. That ain't necessarily a thing you want to do. But I'm probably the only person of these guys that are dreaming about going to the NBA and actually were able to do it. So that wasn't something that you wanted to do. But playing the game and making those sacrifices, it is hard. Because you have to give up a lot of your childhood, a lot of your family time.
There are 3 things that I love about this answer, right? I love that it's emotional. The storytelling takes me to a place. I love that it's honest. You're taking us behind the curtain of your experiences. You know what I really love about it, though? Is I used to think there was just my questions that you didn't answer, but now you're not answering the voicemail questions either. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll be back tomorrow on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. And always remember, for the podcast listeners, we will always give you what you want because we respect you more than the people that just catch us on TV once in a while or the people that just jumped on the band.
You're far too
Got to give the people